Well, good morning. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you all. Wishing you and yours a wonderful holiday season. As we come to the end of the year, the Indiana Clean School Bus Coalition wanted to thank you all for your continued interest in improving Indiana air quality and implementing clean school buses throughout our great state. There are many things to be thankful for. However, our work isn't done for the year yet. So, Mr. Sean Seals will be talking from the Indiana Department of Environmental Management on an upcoming grant opportunity that he has. And then Carter Granberg from the US EPA will discuss the opportunity through US EPA on the Clean School Bus Rebate Program. And as many of you know that we worked with you, this rebate is due on the 9th of January. So we're looking forward to continuing our Indiana Clean School Bus webinar series in 2025, and we'll have a variety of upcoming events across the U.S. as well as Indiana, so you can plan your year around some of the clean school bus initiatives. Also, please feel free to provide feedback to us on upcoming webinars and events that you need assistance with. Also, just want to remind some of our schools here in Northwest Indiana, Lake Porter and LaPorte, through the Indiana Clean School Bus Program and Partners for Clean Air. We do have an opportunity for students that are interested in a scholarship program. So it's a $2,500 scholarship. You can link that to our website under the Indiana Clean School Bus. It'll also be on our notes, but it's a $2,500 scholarship for students that are in the Lake, LaPorte, or Porter County that are interested in continuing their education. So again, this is a great way for students who are interested in um, providing additional educational resources. And this $2,500 is paid before the school year. So this opportunities will be due in April of 25. So look forward to more of that. So also just kind of want to remind some folks at our Drive Clean Indiana React Conference on November 20th, we recently honored the school city of East Chicago as the Indiana Clean School Bus Recipient of the Year for its work on implementing clean school buses and reducing their idle time. So also on December 10th, we held a governmental ride and drive with electric vehicles with Go EV Indiana at the Tire Rack facility in South Bend, Indiana, and we'll have an upcoming video that folks will be interested. But it was a great event, great way to collaborate on various electric technologies. And so also we're planning on updating the Drive Clean Indiana, Go EV Indiana websites. And all that will be taking place early first quarter of 25. And so we're also looking into hosting some different training mechanisms for school mechanics and fleet directors. And so again, those are things that we're just putting together, have had several meetings. I know we've had several inquiries about vehicle to grid, and so we'll be doing a presentation on that early in the first quarter of next year. So please also mark your calendars for the first Indiana Clean School Bus Coalition meeting in January. It'll be on January 21st, and then our next one will be held on February 25th. And then we also invite you to our upcoming kickoff meeting, Fueling the Crossroads of America, on March 5th at the JW Marriott in Indianapolis. So this event is free to all of our members of Drive Clean Indiana. We'll announce our guest speaker very shortly. And last year we had the voice of the Indianapolis 500, Mark Janes, who provided our guests with a riveting talk about racing and his story. So we've got a couple surprises that we'll keep under wrap until the first of the year, but excited about that. And so then also we have many other events planned with the Go EV Indiana project and the implementation of electric charging infrastructure and equipment with the Indiana Department of Environmental Management and the Indiana Department of Transportation. So our goal is to let's thrive in 25. So again, thank you all for being here. And then just wanted to turn it over to Mr. Sean Seals, who's going to talk a little bit about Dieselwise. So Sean, take it away, please.
Well, good morning. I just wanted to first and foremost let everyone know if you hear some banging and crashing in the background, we're having a little bit of work done here at the house, so I apologize for that. It is in the basement, so I doubt you'll even notice. So yeah, thanks, Carl, for the pass there. I think one of the things that a lot of people have been wondering about and waiting for is funding from the DeSwise Indiana program. Historically, we've been putting out one or two RFPs a year, and then we kind of went into a pause mode. And for those that don't know, one of the reasons we kind of transitioned into a bit of a pause mode was that we have finished up the Volkswagen Environmental Mitigation Trust Fund program. All of those funds are pretty well obligated. We will have some funds still remaining, and we have yet to determine how best we want to allocate those funds. But what we will have coming is the good old days of the Dieselwise Indiana request for proposals that is entirely Diesel Emission Reduction Act or DERA based. And I am currently on the other screen here, actually working on the RFP that will be the 2025 RFP. As of right now, my plan, my hope, and my goal is to have that posted to our website by the end of the year. And tentatively, I'm looking at application submittal being due by or around February 28th of 2025. So I wanted to note that everybody can kind of keep their eyes on the Dieselwise Indiana website, and you'll be able to see what that's all about. And I also wanted to note that we are very excited. And when I say we, I mean both IDEM and Drive Clean Indiana are excited to let folks know that we developed in collaboration an application for funding from the Clean Heavy Duty Diesel Vehicles program through US EPA. And we did it sort of through this organization, this group, if you will, the Indiana Clean School Bus Consortium. And we applied for funding for around 30 electric school buses, scattered more or less around Indiana. And we were selected for funding, so we're excited to be able to announce that. And though the funding amount is going to be about $9.3 million from US EPA, total project cost is about 15.6 million. So we're really excited about the work that we'll be able to do there. And we really appreciate the assistance of Drive Clean Indiana when it comes to the development of the application. So for the time being, Carl, that's actually all I have to provide. If anybody have questions, you can raise them now or you can raise them later. I'll leave that up to the folks at DCI.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. And again, if you have any questions, just start putting them in the chat and we'll get to as many of those questions. And if we don't have the answer, we'll get the answer under separate cover. So again, thank you, Sean, and look forward to hearing more about the grant opportunity coming out here shortly. So, and again, many of you know Carter Granberg from US EPA, and Carter is just going to give us an update on the Indiana and the US EPA Clean School Bus Program. So take it away, Carter.
Thank you very much. I'm actually going to take the screen here. So we do have the standard slides that go over the funding opportunity, which I presented here the past few times and given some updates on. The big update I do want to share is just a reminder that applications are due for the current round of rebates at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on January 9th. In the meantime, I'm going to highlight some materials that we have put together in the region that might be useful to folks on the call. And I'm going to share a link to that in the chat so you have access to it and you can share it if you want. Give me 1 second. So anyone who has this link that I just put in the chat should be able to access these resources and download them and use them if they'd like. We've worked on putting together a few things to help folks, both applicants and people who are working with applicants for this round of rebates. We have a folder containing a list of who, oh, this this is maybe a little above this call, but just who's in charge of kind of coalitions. If you want to add folks to this coalition or other coalitions that maybe you work with, here's the points of contact to reach out to add them. We have the big overview slide deck that we've put together. This is what I've shared in this call before, so I'm not going to go through it right now, but I do want to just highlight that this is kind of the one-stop shop. It has everything you need to know about the program, kind of high-level information, talking points, funding information. It has explanations of how the rebates work, who can apply, who is prioritized, and what criteria they need to meet to be prioritized. It goes through essentially every major point that's in the NOFO, or sorry, not NOFO, but on the rebate guidance document, which is a massive document, and distills it down into a very easy to follow slideshow with links and other resources. So if you are an applicant considering applying, if you are working with applicants considering applying, this is the resource I generally recommend sharing with people, so they can get a whole feel for the program in a really easy to digest way. So there's that. There is also this resource, which is really useful if you are someone on the call that is engaged in outreach, if you are a third party, if you are a nonprofit, if you are someone looking to contact applicants and get them interested in applying or talking to them about applying. This is a spreadsheet that has the full priority list for this round of rebates. Just a reminder, priority applicants have a higher likelihood of being selected for funding. They also have a higher ceiling of total funding they can get for their rebate. So this is the entire applicant list in the region. What we did is we took this list. Oh, let's see. Oh, this is for Sean in the chat. We took this list and we decided to break it down and add some other metrics to it. So these are things we thought might be useful to folks on this call and in other states looking to target different school districts. The first and maybe most important one, I think, is a metric of if they have applied for a previous rebate, either in the 2022 funding or the 2023 funding. These are districts that have, and that doesn't necessarily mean they were accepted, that just means they applied. These are districts we think would show a higher likelihood of maybe applying this round or being at least interested in the program because they've shown that they're familiar with it and have applied in the past. We've also looked at school districts that fall into a non-attainment or maintenance zone for PM 2.5 or ozone. And we, just for our own curiosity, have looked at school districts in Region 5 where we just saw broadly on the map a low number of rebates. These were school districts that exist kind of in bubbles where there haven't really been, from our viewpoint, any major outreach of clean school buses. So we took that, we refined this down, and anyone that checked a yes in one of these three columns, we made a refined priority list. And there's a little note that explains that. We then went one step further here and added a column and added a page of all school districts. So this is both priority and non-priority districts that met that criteria of having applied before. This is all school districts, both priority and non-priority, who fall into a non-attainment or maintenance zone. And then this is all school districts, priority and non-priority, that we just see in areas that lack generally any type of school bus funding. So I hope that's maybe useful for folks on the call, especially those partaking in outreach. This might be a good tool for targeting and helping identify school districts that might have, if you're trying to triage and use your time wisely, I'd really recommend maybe looking at that previous R5 applicants page and going down this list and looking through it. Unfortunately, we do not have contact info. That's something we don't have access to at this level. The only time we've been able to contact schools is when we go kind of on a case-by-case basis and Google search them. If anyone on this call has access to that info and would be willing to share it, and is okay with it being shared, I would be happy to then plug it into the document and make sure that the schools pair up with appropriate contact information. In addition to all that stuff, we did work on an Indiana folder. So this has some cheat sheets for supplemental funding. There is, other than kind of like diesel-wise, like Sean was talking about, and other funding opportunities, there's nothing that totally stacks that I'm aware of with the Clean School Bus rebate. So this is a little short on content right now, but we're keeping it open. So if you know of resources, either grants or utility company opportunities or other type of things, federal, local, statewide, please flag them up to me and I'd be happy to add them in. This is a living document that we can change as time goes on that other folks can use, with the goal of helping school districts or third parties or applicants just identify how they can help get supplemental funding or resources to help cover the costs of buses and any infrastructure for charging if they're going with the electric route. But some resources on Drive Clean Indiana in here if you are interested in reading that over and getting involved. But yeah, so that's kind of it on my side. No real major updates. If you have questions about the rebates or any of the resources, please throw them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer them as we go through the rest of the call. Please feel free to reach out, and if time permits, be happy to talk and answer questions at the end. Thank you.
Hey, Carter, it's Carl. Just the elephant in the room. I think, some of the feedback that we've gotten from some of our school districts here in Indiana is the funding, moving forward. If we apply for the rebate, does it appear that the projects will move forward? So that's a concern of many of the school districts, the amount of time that it takes potentially to put together the rebate application, things like that. And so, to maybe kind of address just the elephant in the room, is this funding appropriated if one of the Indiana school corporations were lucky enough to be awarded a grant?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about that and be as honest as I can be with what I know. That's a conversation we've been having internally as well. Uh, and unfortunately, it's just a lot of speculating. We haven't really gotten clear guidance or a signal one way or another. What we do know, though, is that it would take like a direct act of Congress to undo funding that has been pre-assigned, like this funding has. We haven't directly seen that before, and we don't anticipate seeing it this time around, but it's not impossible, just low likelihood. Additionally, it's also harder to stop funding. Then going one more step after that, it's harder to stop funding that has been trying to think of the right word here, allocated or set aside. So if someone applies on this round of funding and they're selected, that funding is now kind of like tied to them and allocated to them on the books. It's not just a floating pot of money, and that's a lot harder to pull back. So there, unfortunately, I can't give a very clear answer. That's something we're kind of keeping a close eye on, and we would signal as soon as we heard anything otherwise. All that we've been told is that it would take a direct act of Congress. It's not very likely. We're going to continue pushing the program and helping and advocating as we can unless we hear otherwise. But we haven't. So
Yeah, no, I think that's fair, Carter. I guess my point in what you're really saying is that you're encouraging any of our schools that are on that list that we really, if they're interested in clean transportation, they really should put in a request for this rebate program.
yes, that's the line we've been kind of taking. It's more certain, like I said, yeah, more certain this round of funding because it's been allocated. Next round of funding would be highly unlikely, but technically a little less certain. So we are just
Mhm.
advocating as much as we can for people to apply.
Sure. And then maybe if you, and again, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Carter, but
Oh, no, you're good.
overall, how we as Indiana or as Region 5 that we're alluding to, I know on that list of schools that includes Region 5, which is pretty much the EPA Midwest. But how do we stack up as Region 5 compared to some of the other regions with clean school bus
Oh,
applications to awards? I mean, just I'm not asking for the scientific or the,
yeah, yeah.
but how are we doing as a state? How are we getting enough applications? Are we the more applications obviously it increases our chances for success as a coalition.
Yeah, and I'm happy you did put me on the spot for that because it's a positive answer.
Good.
Yeah, Region 5 as a whole, the Midwestern states has actually in the last round of funding did the best in the country out of the 10 regions. It had the highest number of applications and the highest number of rebates awarded. So there's a lot of engagement regionally. Indiana, I believe, was in the country the 19th most in terms of applications and rebates, roughly around that level. That is, I think, a little bit more impressive considering the number of public school districts in Indiana, I think, is in the 90s, if I remember right,
Sure,
compared
sure.
compared to something like Illinois, which is in the 300s. So, relative to the size of the pool in Indiana, that's pretty impressive to us. We have nevertheless been still encouraging more applications and trying to troubleshoot problems as they arise, have conversations with folks if they're on the fence. But at the end of the day, the name of the game is numbers. If we have more applicants, both priority and non-priority, there's a much better chance that people would get those buses. We've seen as the program has gone on, what we've seen is the numbers kind of tighten up. So it's becoming more and more proportional where if you apply, you have a better and better shot of getting funding.
Sure, sure. No, well, again, Carter, I think it's been a busy year. It's been a busy year for you, for Sean, for the entire team of folks, and it's exciting. And again, I know that going forward is that our work's not done. So again, being in the holiday season, I know people are going to be off for break, but just wanted to encourage folks that January 9th is not too far away, and if you have any questions, I mean, I know that you can reach out to Carter, to Sean, to Drive Clean Indiana. We're here to be a resource, an asset for you on your application. So again, I think it's an exciting time, and we still have a lot of work to do before going into the first quarter. So it's very exciting. So again, here's our information. Please feel free to reach out to Drive Clean Indiana. But also, if you have any additional questions, now's the time. So I don't see any other questions in the chat. Sean, any closing thoughts before we close out our call here?
Nope, none other than go ahead and just everybody keep your eye on the Dieselwise Indiana website, and that RFP will drop as soon as I can get it out there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And again, we'll have our next meetings will be on the January 21st and February 25th. That'll be updated on our website. And again, just a whole host of we're planning a winter webinar series that will be inclusive of clean school buses. But please be on the lookout for that. This is open to all that are interested in clean fuels in the state of Indiana. So with that being said, Danielle, is there any other information that I forgot to talk about?
Not as of yet, but the winter webinar series will be released after the holidays, so do keep your eye out for that. We will be notifying everyone via email.
So, well, with that, again, I just want to thank everyone. I wanted to wish you all Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and we look forward to a great 2025. And again, with these upcoming opportunities, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'd like to assist any way that we can. So, again, thank you all. We look forward to seeing you all in 2025.
Thanks, guys.
Everyone.